The academy on Zorath Prime was a place of bright lights, sharp metal towers, and endless chatter. Cadets from countless worlds gathered here to train for interstellar service. Ships glided through the sky and holographic screens displayed lessons in every corner. Yet for Luma, the young alien girl with pale violet skin and eyes that shimmered like liquid silver, the academy felt like a cage. She walked quietly through the corridors, keeping her head low. Her long, thin limbs moved carefully, avoiding collisions with other cadets rushing by. Most of them were taller or stronger than her. Many had wings, tails, or other features that made her feel awkward and different. Her small, delicate form and unusual features had made her a target from the very first day. "Watch out for the alien shrimp," someone shouted from behind. Laughter echoing through the hall. Luma's heart sank. She clenched her fist but said nothing. Speaking up often made things worse. She had learned to avoid attention, to disappear in the crowd. But the more she tried to hide, the more the ridicule followed. The morning training session in the zero-gravity gym was even worse. Luma floated awkwardly between the rotating rings, trying to keep her balance. Every other cadet seemed to glide with ease, twisting and spinning, their bodies moving as if gravity did not exist. Luma tried to mimic their movements, but her coordination faltered. Her arms flailed, her legs kicked out, and she nearly collided with one of the floating panels. "Ha! Look at her!" a tall cadet called, pointing at her as she struggled. "Can the shrimp even survive out there?" Laughter erupted and Luma's face flushed. She gritted her teeth, determined to keep going, but her confidence was fading fast. Her hands shook as she tried to stabilize herself. She knew she was failing, and everyone could see it. Then a hand appeared in front of her, steady and calm. "Here, try this," a voice said. Luma blinked and looked up. A human boy floated nearby, his movements careful, controlled, and strong. His name was Jonas, and unlike the others, he didn't laugh. His expression was calm, almost kind. "Hold my arm." "Balance with me," Luma hesitated. She had learned never to trust anyone here. Most cadets pretended to help and then mocked her later. But there was something different about Jonas. His eyes didn't carry judgment. They carried curiosity and focus. She nodded, taking his hand. Slowly, with his guidance, she found a small measure of stability. "Good. That's it," Jonas said quietly. "Now try to push off the ring with your left foot. See how it feels." He demonstrated, moving smoothly through the air. Luma imitated him, following his movements as best she could. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. From the sidelines, a group of cadets sneered. "Look at him," one said, rolling their eyes. "Helping the weak alien shrimp. What a fool." But Jonas ignored them. He continued guiding Luma, patient and encouraging. By the end of the session, Luma was exhausted but managed to complete the course without falling or crashing. It was a small victory, but for her it felt monumental. She floated to a corner, catching her breath while Jonas drifted over. "You did well," he said simply. "Your body is learning. Don't worry about what they say." Luma wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe that someone saw her as more than an outsider. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Jonas smiled, a small friendly smile, and then floated away to join the others. Luma watched him go, feeling a strange warmth. For the first time, she didn't feel completely alone. The day continued and the academy buzzed with activity. Cadets attended lessons in alien history, star navigation, and combat simulations. Luma tried to participate, but whispers followed her everywhere. Did you see her stumble again? Why is Jonas helping her? She'll never be a real cadet. Luma heard the words, but she forced herself to focus. She remembered Jonas's calm face and the small victory in the zero-gravity gym. Slowly, she began to walk with a bit more confidence, holding her head a little higher. Even if others mocked her, she would not let them see her break. Lunch was another challenge. The cafeteria was crowded with cadets from all species. Luma carefully carried her tray, searching for a quiet corner. She spotted an empty table and moved toward it, hoping no one would notice her. But a group of cadets quickly blocked her path. One of them, a tall alien with shimmering scales, sneered. "You're not welcome here. Find somewhere else." Luma's heart pounded, but before she could retreat, a familiar voice cut through the noise. "Let her pass." Jonas stood nearby, his presence commanding attention without force. The bullies glanced at him, then at Luma, and reluctantly stepped aside. She slipped past them, feeling a mix of relief and gratitude. Sitting down, Luma tried to eat quietly. She stole glances at Jonas from across the cafeteria. He was surrounded by other cadets, chatting and laughing, but he kept an eye on her. Each glance reminded her that someone cared, someone saw her as capable and human, or in this case as a person, not a target for ridicule. After lunch, lessons continued with simulation drills. Luma still struggled with speed and coordination, but she remembered Jonas's guidance. She tried to focus, copying the movements he had shown her. Slowly, her confidence grew. A tiny spark of hope flickered inside her chest. By evening, Luma was exhausted. She floated back to her dorm, avoiding the lingering whispers of other cadets. Alone in her room, she stared at the small hollow of her home planet. She missed her family, the gentle forests and soft winds, and the nights when no one judged her. But she also remembered Jonas's voice, calm and encouraging. Maybe, just maybe, things could change here. Before sleeping, she practiced some movements Jonas had shown her, repeating them slowly and carefully. Each small success made her feel stronger. She realized that no matter how harsh the academy seemed, there might be a way to survive, and even thrive. Outside, the lights of Zorath Prime shone brightly. Ships passed overhead, casting fleeting shadows across the academy towers. Somewhere among them, Luma felt a faint sense of possibility. A human had seen her potential when no one else did. That small act of kindness ignited a determination she had never felt before. Tomorrow, she thought, would be another difficult day. But maybe, just maybe, she wouldn't be alone. And for the first time since arriving at the academy, Luma allowed herself a small, hopeful smile. The morning light bathed the academy in a soft golden glow. Luma moved through the halls with a careful pace, her violet skin glinting faintly under the artificial lights. Her heart still thumped from yesterday's training, a mixture of exhaustion and hope keeping her awake late into the night. For the first time, she had felt someone cared. That someone was Jonas. As she approached the zero-gravity training gym, she noticed a group of cadets gathered near the entrance, whispering and laughing. Her stomach twisted. She wanted to turn around to avoid attention, but something made her step forward. Her body remembered Jonas's encouragement, his calm voice guiding her like a quiet beacon. Inside the gym, cadets practiced maneuvers, twirling and spinning with effortless skill. Luma's first attempts were cautious, tentative, but she tried to remember the techniques Jonas had shown her. Slow pushes, careful tucks, controlled spins. She repeated them silently in her mind. "Need some help?" a familiar voice said. Luma turned and saw Jonas floating toward her, a small smile on his face. He held out a hand. "Let's try together," Luma hesitated. Yesterday had been a small victory, but what if today failed? What if she embarrassed herself again? She looked into Jonas's eyes and saw no judgment, only patience and focus. Something in her chest eased and she nodded. "Okay," she whispered. Jonas guided her through the movement step by step. He moved with precision, demonstrating pushes and turns, then let her copy. Whenever she faltered, he corrected her gently, never raising his voice. Slowly, Luma felt her body responding, adjusting to the strange environment of zero gravity. From the sidelines, a few cadets watched. Some smirked, whispering comments meant to intimidate. "Why is he helping her again?" one asked. "She'll never catch up." But Jonas ignored them, his focus entirely on Luma. "Now try spinning while pushing off with your right foot," Jonas said. Luma took a deep breath, hesitated for a moment, then pushed. Her body rotated smoothly, landing without crashing into a wall. She opened her eyes in surprise. I did it," she said, a small smile breaking across her face. "Exactly," Jonas replied. "See what your body can do when you believe in it?" Luma's confidence grew with every movement. She was not perfect, but she was improving. For the first time at the academy, she felt capable. She even laughed lightly when she nearly bumped into a floating panel. Jonas joined in, and the sound of their laughter made the gym feel lighter, almost friendly. After the session, they floated toward the academy's observation deck. The stars of Zorath Prime stretched infinitely above, and ships glided silently across the sky. Jonas leaned against the railing, looking at the distant horizon. "You know," he said softly, "every cadet here struggles at first. Everyone has weaknesses. The difference is how you face them." Luma nodded. "I've never had someone care like you do," she admitted. Jonas smiled. "Humans help each other. We believe everyone has potential. Even if others can't see it yet, it's there." Luma's mind spun. Humans were strange and unpredictable, but somehow, Jonas's words made sense. She had always felt alone, like no one understood her. But now there was a flicker of hope. The next days passed in a mixture of training, lessons, and whispered conversations. Jonas continued to help Luma in secret, guiding her through maneuvers, offering tips on navigation, and teaching her techniques to improve her strength. Luma began to stand taller, walk with more confidence, and even respond to the occasional teasing with quiet dignity. But not everyone was pleased. Rumors of Jonas helping Luma spread quickly. Some cadets were curious, others skeptical, and some continued their ridicule. "Why is he wasting his time?" a cadet sneered. "She'll never be as good as us." "She's just a weakling," another added. Luma heard the words but refused to let them touch her. She remembered Jonas's encouragement, the calm way he had taught her to trust herself. Slowly, the whispers began to feel smaller, less powerful. She had discovered a strength she never knew existed, the courage to keep going, even when others tried to tear her down. One afternoon, Jonas suggested they try a more advanced exercise, a maneuver that required spinning, pushing off panels and using momentum to navigate through a series of floating rings. Luma hesitated. The last time she attempted something like this, she had nearly crashed. "You can do it," Jonas said, his voice firm but kind. "I'll guide you." Step by step, Luma took a deep breath and nodded. She followed Jonas's lead, imitating his movements as best she could. At first she faltered, missing rings and spinning awkwardly. But Jonas remained patient, correcting her gently, encouraging her to focus. By the end of the exercise, Luma had completed the course. Not perfectly, but successfully. She floated in the center, her chest rising and falling, a wide smile spreading across her face. "I did it!" she exclaimed. Jonas grinned. "You see? You can do more than you think. You just needed a little guidance." That evening, Luma returned to her dorm feeling a new sense of accomplishment. For the first time, she wasn't just surviving the academy. She was learning, improving, and growing stronger every day. She practiced some of the movements Jonas had taught her, repeating them carefully in her room. Each successful spin and push made her feel more capable, more confident. Over the next week, Luma and Jonas spent more time together. They talked about their homes, their dreams, and the challenges they had faced. Jonas shared stories of Earth, describing towering cities, vast oceans, and forests that stretched for miles. Luma listened in fascination, imagining the strange, beautiful world he came from. "You humans face so many dangers," Luma said one evening. "Yet you survive, you thrive." Jonas shrugged. "We face them because we have to, and because we believe in ourselves and in each other." Luma thought about that. Belief in herself had been hard to come by, but with Jonas's guidance, she was beginning to see her own strength. Each day at the academy no longer felt like a battle to hide or survive. It was a challenge she could face step by step with someone who believed in her. But not everyone welcomed this change. A group of cadets continued to mock her, whispering and sneering whenever they could. Some tried to sabotage her training, leaving obstacles in her path or spreading false rumors about her abilities. Luma noticed, but she refused to let their actions shake her. Jonas reminded her that the opinions of the jealous or cruel should not determine her worth. "You control your actions, not theirs," he said one day. "Use their doubts as fuel to prove yourself, not as chains to hold you back." Luma held on to those words tightly. She practiced harder, pushed herself further, and began to excel in areas she had once struggled with. Each small victory made her feel stronger. The academy was still intimidating, but now she faced it with determination, not fear. One evening, after a long day of training, Jonas and Luma sat on the observation deck again. The stars stretched endlessly above and ships moved silently through space. Luma felt a calm sense of peace knowing that she was no longer completely alone. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for believing in me." Jonas smiled. "You just had to see it yourself. I only showed you the way." Luma nodded. For the first time, she truly believed that she could survive the academy, that she could grow stronger, and that perhaps one day, she could even earn the respect of her peers. And in that belief, a tiny spark of hope began to grow, shining brighter than the fear and loneliness she had felt before. The next day, she woke up ready to face the academy again, not with dread but with anticipation. She had discovered a friend, a guide, and a mentor in Jonas. And for the first time, she knew that even in a place full of judgment and mockery, she could find strength and confidence through courage, determination, and the support of someone who truly cared. The next morning, Luma felt a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. She had grown stronger since Jonas began helping her, but the academy was still full of challenges. Cadets from all species moved with confidence, their skills polished and precise. Luma, despite her progress, still had to prove herself, not just to the others, but to herself. Jonas was already in the zero-gravity gym when she arrived. His expression was calm and welcoming. "Ready for today?" he asked. Luma nodded. "Yes, I want to do better," Jonas smiled. "Good, that's the right attitude." He handed her a small floating training device, a sphere that projected a path through rings suspended in the air. "Today we'll try something new," Jonas explained. "You'll combine what you've learned with your own abilities. Focus, adapt, and move carefully." Luma took the sphere and studied it. Her alien reflexes were faster than human ones, but her movements had always been awkward. Today, she tried to control them, using Jonas's guidance to balance her natural agility with careful precision. "Start with the first ring," Jonas instructed. "Push off gently, use momentum to guide yourself." Luma inhaled deeply and pushed off. Her body spun, twisted, and moved through the first ring smoothly. The second ring came faster, and she faltered slightly, almost colliding with a floating panel. Jonas's hand reached out just in time to steady her. "Focus on your breathing," he said calmly. "Trust your instincts, but don't rush." She adjusted, and the next few rings went better. With each success, her confidence grew. Her body moved in ways she hadn't thought possible, combining human technique and alien reflexes into a seamless motion. From the observation window, a few cadets watched. Some whispered, "Is she really improving?" Others remained skeptical. Luma felt the pressure, but Jonas's calm presence reminded her to ignore the distractions. After completing the course, she floated to the side, breathing heavily but smiling. "I did it," she said, almost in disbelief. "You did more than it looks like," Jonas said. "You adapted. That's what counts." Over the next few days, Luma and Jonas trained together regularly. They experimented with different exercises, obstacle courses, timed rotations, and simulated combat drills. Jonas taught her strategies, showing her how to use her alien agility and human guidance together. Luma learned to anticipate movements, to plan her path through the gym, and to react quickly to unexpected obstacles. Slowly, other cadets began to notice. Some stared in surprise as Luma executed complex maneuvers with fluid grace. Others whispered, curiosity replacing their earlier mockery. A few even attempted to challenge her, trying to see if her skills were real or just luck. One afternoon, the Academy announced a new exercise, a team simulation where cadets would navigate a series of obstacles in zero gravity while retrieving data modules. Luma's heart raced. Team exercises meant she would have to work closely with other cadets, some of whom had mocked her relentlessly. Jonas floated beside her, sensing her tension. "Focus on the skills you've learned," he said. "Don't worry about what they think." "You know what you can do," Luma nodded. She felt a little braver with him nearby. As the teams formed, she was paired with Jonas and two other cadets, a winged alien and a four-armed humanoid. Both looked skeptical, casting glances at Luma as if measuring her worth. "Just don't slow us down," one of them muttered. Luma's stomach twisted, but she took a deep breath and ignored it. She had learned to block out insults and focus on what mattered. The simulation began. Cadets floated through the maze of rings, panels, and moving platforms. Luma's team struggled at first, fumbling and colliding. The other cadets' eyes were on her, waiting for her to fail. "Use your legs to push off the side," Jonas instructed. "Adjust your trajectory with your arms." "You can do this," Luma concentrated, feeling her body respond. Her alien reflexes allowed her to spin and twist with precision, while Jonas' advice helped her control her movements. She moved faster than anyone expected, collecting the data modules efficiently and avoiding collisions. By the end of the simulation, Luma's team finished ahead of schedule. The other cadets stared in surprise, some whispering, "I didn't think she could do that." Even those who had mocked her before looked impressed. Jonas floated beside her, a quiet smile on his face. "See? You're stronger than you realize." Luma's heart swelled with pride. For the first time, she felt that her efforts were truly recognized. It wasn't just about surviving anymore. It was about showing what she could do. That evening, Luma and Jonas returned to the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly above, and the city lights of Zorath Prime twinkled below. Luma leaned against the railing, catching her breath. "Thank you for believing in me," she said quietly. Jonas shrugged. "I didn't do anything special." "You did it yourself," Luma shook her head. "Not without you. You taught me how to trust myself." Jonas smiled. "Then keep trusting yourself. That's how you'll grow stronger every day." The next few weeks passed in a blur of training and lessons. Luma became more agile, more precise, and more confident. She still faced whispers and occasional pranks from some cadets, but they no longer shook her as deeply. She had discovered that her strength was not just in her body, but in her mind and spirit. One day, a particularly difficult exercise was announced. A zero-gravity combat drill where cadets had to dodge and tag moving targets while maintaining control. Most cadets excelled, but many struggled with coordination. Luma approached the exercise with determination. Jonas guided her through the steps, helping her anticipate the target's movements and adjust her trajectory. At first she missed, her movements clumsy and uncertain. But she persisted, correcting her mistakes, learning from each attempt. By the end of the session, she had outperformed many of her peers. Her movements were precise, fast, and confident. The bullies who had once laughed at her looked on in disbelief, their expressions unreadable. Luma felt no anger, only satisfaction. She had proven something to herself, and that mattered more than their approval. After the drill, the team gathered to discuss the exercise. Luma's peers began asking her questions, curious about how she had performed so well. Jonas gave her a subtle nod, encouraging her to share her approach. "I just focused on each step," Luma said softly. "I tried to move carefully, watch the targets, and trust my instincts. It worked better than I expected." Her honesty and calm explanation impressed the others. Slowly, they began to see her as capable, not just an outsider or a target for ridicule. Luma realized that her confidence was contagious. Others could respect her without needing to mock or fear her. That evening, Jonas and Luma sat on the observation deck again. The stars reflected in Luma's shimmering eyes, and she felt a deep sense of purpose. "I never thought I could do this," she admitted. "Not here, not at this academy," Jonas smiled. "You just needed the right guidance. And you believed in yourself. That's what makes the difference." Luma looked out at the endless sky, thinking about the journey ahead. There would be more challenges, more difficult exercises, and perhaps more mockery. But she no longer felt small or powerless. With Jonas's guidance and her own determination, she had discovered a new strength, one that would carry her through anything the academy could throw at her. And in that moment, Luma realized something important. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was growing, learning, and becoming someone her peers could respect. The academy was no longer a place of fear and isolation. It was a place of opportunity, and she was ready to seize it. The academy's announcement came like a wave of excitement and tension. A large-scale team challenge was scheduled for the following week, a competition that would test every cadet's skill, strategy, and teamwork. Luma felt a mixture of anticipation and nervousness. Team challenges meant working closely with others, including cadets who had mocked her relentlessly in the past. Jonas found her in the training gym, carefully adjusting her equipment. "You ready for this?" he asked. Luma nodded, trying to steady her nerves. "I think so, but what if they try to make me fail?" "They might," Jonas admitted. "Some cadets are cruel when they feel threatened. But don't let that stop you. You've trained for this. You know what to do." Luma drew a deep breath and allowed herself a small nod. She had grown stronger, more confident, and today, she would put that strength to the test. On the day of the challenge, the training arena was filled with cadets, instructors, and spectators from other sections of the academy. The challenge involved navigating a complex zero-gravity course, retrieving data modules, and defending them from rival teams. It was designed to test agility, strategy, and courage. Luma's team included Jonas, the winged alien she had trained with before, a multi-armed cadet, and another cadet who had rarely spoken to her. From the start, the tension was palpable. The bullies who had mocked Luma before were on opposing teams, their eyes filled with doubt and challenge. "Remember your strategy," Jonas whispered. "Trust your training and each other." The starting signal rang out and the teams launched into the course. Luma's team moved cautiously, each member taking their position. The course was more challenging than any previous exercise. Rings spun unexpectedly. Floating panels shifted and simulated obstacles moved unpredictably. Luma's heart pounded, but she focused on her movements, applying the techniques Jonas had taught her. As they approached the first set of data modules, one of the bullies from a rival team attempted to block Luma, pushing a panel directly in her path. Luma's instincts kicked in. She twisted her body mid-spin, avoiding the collision and using her momentum to reach the module. "Good," Jonas shouted. "Keep going." The rival cadet tried again, this time attempting to block her path with multiple obstacles. But Luma had learned to adapt. She used the environment to her advantage, bouncing off panels and gliding through narrow spaces with precision. Each movement was deliberate, a combination of human technique and alien agility. Her teammates followed her lead, gaining confidence from her actions. The winged aliens soared gracefully, the multi-armed cadet maneuvered with surprising efficiency, and the other quiet cadet began to trust Luma's guidance. Together, they moved as a unit, collecting data modules and navigating the complex obstacles with surprising coordination. Meanwhile, the bullies on the opposing teams grew frustrated. They had expected Luma to falter, to stumble under pressure, but she continued to excel. Each time they attempted sabotage, she adapted, turning their efforts against them. She was no longer the timid, awkward alien they had once mocked. She was a skilled cadet, confident and unyielding. Halfway through the course, Luma faced the most difficult challenge, a spinning ring obstacle that required precise timing and speed. The ring moved unpredictably, and failure meant losing precious time. Luma paused for a fraction of a second, recalling Jonas's instructions. She calculated the timing, adjusted her push, and launched herself through the ring with perfect precision. Her teammates cheered, and even some spectators murmured in surprise. Luma felt a rush of exhilaration. She had faced danger, adapted, and succeeded. The feeling of triumph filled her chest, stronger than any fear or doubt she had ever known. As the course continued, the rival cadets became more desperate. They tried to block Luma's path by creating sudden obstacles and forcing collisions. Luma's heart raced, but she remembered Jonas' words. Trust your instincts, adapt, and focus on your strengths. Each challenge she faced became an opportunity to prove herself. With every obstacle she overcame, Luma's confidence grew. Her body moved with grace and control, her mind sharp and alert. She could feel the energy of the arena, the eyes of her peers, the tension in the air, and instead of fear, she felt determination. Near the end of the course, the final set of data modules was guarded by a series of spinning barriers and floating panels. Luma's team approached cautiously, communicating silently with gestures and eye contact. Jonas floated beside her, offering a reassuring nod. "Ready?" he whispered. Luma nodded. "Let's finish this." With coordinated effort, the team maneuvered through the barriers. Luma used her agility to dart between moving panels, retrieve the modules, and hand them to her teammates. Each movement was precise, efficient, and confident. Her heart raced, but she remained calm, trusting her body and her training. Finally, the team reached the finish line. They crossed it together, victorious. The arena erupted in applause and cheers. Luma's heart swelled with pride. She had faced sabotage, pressure, and doubt, and she had succeeded. The bullies who had once mocked her were stunned. Some looked ashamed, others silent, but none could deny her skill. Luma's peers began to approach, offering cautious congratulations and respect. For the first time, she felt that her efforts were truly recognized. Jonas floated beside her, smiling. "See what you can do when you trust yourself?" he said quietly. Luma nodded, her eyes shining. I never thought I could do this," she admitted. "You did it because you never gave up," Jonas replied. "And because you worked together with your team. That's what makes a true cadet." As the celebration continued, Luma realized something important. The academy was still challenging, still full of obstacles and difficult cadets, but she had discovered a new strength. It wasn't just her physical abilities. It was her courage, determination, and willingness to trust herself and others. That evening, Luma and Jonas returned to the observation deck. The city lights of Zorath Prime stretched below and stars glittered above. Luma leaned against the railing, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "Thank you," she said softly, "for believing in me, for helping me, for showing me I can do more than I thought." Jonas shook his head. "You did it yourself. I only guided you. All the credit goes to you." Luma smiled, but she knew it was more than that. Without Jonas's support, she might not have found the courage to face the challenge. Together they had transformed fear and doubt into strength and success. The academy had witnessed a remarkable transformation. Luma was no longer the timid, awkward cadet who had struggled to keep up. She had proven her skill, courage, and determination. Even those who had mocked her could no longer deny her abilities. As she looked at the stars above, Luma felt hope and excitement for the future. There would be more challenges, more obstacles, and more difficult tests. But now she knew she had the strength to face them. She had discovered her own potential, and with Jonas by her side, she could accomplish anything. For the first time, Luma felt a sense of belonging at the academy. She had gained not only skill and confidence, but also respect and trust. And that, she realized, was the true reward. The night passed quietly with Luma reflecting on the day's events. She had faced doubt, sabotage, and fear, and emerged stronger than ever. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she was ready. She had learned that courage, determination, and trust in oneself could overcome even the harshest obstacles. And in that realization, Luma felt a spark of excitement. The academy was no longer a place of isolation and fear. It was a place of opportunity. And she was ready to seize it. The morning sun bathed Zorath Prime in a warm golden glow. After the intense team challenge the day before, the academy was buzzing with excitement and discussion. Luma walked through the corridors with a newfound confidence. Her violet skin shimmered faintly in the light, but it was not her appearance that drew attention. It was the way she carried herself. She walked tall, with steady steps and a calm determination that could not be ignored. As she entered the training gym, cadets from various teams paused to watch her. Some nodded in silent respect, while others whispered in amazement. Even the bullies who had mocked her before approached with hesitation, unsure how to act around the cadet they had once dismissed. Luma ignored the whispers. She had learned that true confidence came from within, not from the approval of others. Jonas floated toward her, a familiar calm smile on his face. "Ready for today?" he asked. Luma nodded. "Yes, I feel stronger now. I can handle it." Jonas' smile widened. "I knew you would. Just remember everything we practiced. Trust yourself." The academy had organized a special session to honor cadets who had shown exceptional growth. Luma had been nominated by instructors and peers for her performance in the team challenge. As she entered the large observation hall, cadets, instructors, and even visiting dignitaries from different planets filled the space. The atmosphere was filled with anticipation. The head instructor, a tall alien with golden eyes, addressed the assembly. "Today we recognize cadets who have demonstrated outstanding skill, courage, and teamwork. Their determination serves as an example to all." Luma's heart raced. She had never imagined that she would stand here, recognized for her abilities. Her mind briefly flashed to the early days at the academy, when she had felt invisible and ridiculed. Now everything had changed. The instructor continued. "Among you, one cadet has faced extraordinary challenges and has risen above them with courage and grace. Luma, please step forward." Gasps echoed through the hall. Luma felt all eyes on her. She took a deep breath, her chest swelling with pride. She walked toward the stage, keeping her movement steady. Jonas followed closely, offering a reassuring nod. When Luma reached the stage, the instructor continued. "Luma has demonstrated not only remarkable skill, but also resilience and teamwork. She has turned doubt and mockery into strength and inspiration." Applause filled the hall. Some cadets who had once mocked her clapped cautiously, while others cheered wholeheartedly. Luma's eyes sparkled with emotion. She had not just proven herself to others. She had proven to herself that she was capable, brave, and strong. After the ceremony, cadets approached Luma, offering congratulations and words of admiration. One of the winged cadets who had doubted her said quietly, "I underestimated you." "You're amazing," Luma smiled politely. "Thank you. I just focused on what I could do, not what others thought." Jonas floated beside her, proud but humble. "See, you've inspired them now. Your strength isn't just in your abilities, it's in your courage and determination." Luma felt a warmth in her chest. It was more than recognition. It was the feeling of belonging. For the first time, she felt that she was truly part of the academy community. Later that evening, Luma and Jonas returned to their favorite spot, The observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly above, and the lights of the city below twinkled like distant jewels. The quiet allowed them to reflect on the journey they had shared. "I never thought I could change so much in just a few weeks," Luma admitted softly. Jonas shook his head. "You changed because you believed in yourself. I only helped you see what was already there." Luma smiled. "I guess it's true what you said. Courage and determination can overcome a lot, even fear and mockery." Jonas nodded. "Exactly. And now others will see it too. Your example will help those who come after you, cadets who feel weak or different. They will know that strength comes from within." Luma looked out at the stars, thinking about the cadets who had laughed at her, who had tried to make her fail. She no longer felt anger or resentment. Instead, she felt a quiet satisfaction. She had faced them all, proven herself, and grown stronger in the process. Over the next few days, Luma's presence in the academy changed. Cadets who had once ignored or mocked her now sought her advice. They wanted to learn from her techniques, to understand how she had adapted so quickly. Even instructors took note, often calling on her to demonstrate maneuvers or explain strategies. Luma shared what she had learned with patience and humility, helping others grow alongside her. Jonas watched with quiet pride. He knew that Luma had come far beyond what most cadets could achieve in months. Her growth was not just physical, it was mental and emotional as well. She had learned to trust herself, to face challenges without fear, and to inspire others by example. One afternoon, as they trained together in the zero-gravity gym, a group of younger cadets approached. "Luma," one said hesitantly, "can you show us how you do those maneuvers?" Luma smiled warmly. "Of course. Start with the basics and remember to trust your body and your instincts. We'll go step by step." The cadets followed her instructions, practicing under her guidance. Luma corrected gently, encouraged them when they struggled, and celebrated every small success. For the first time, she realized that her journey was not just about proving herself. It was about helping others find their own strength. Jonas floated beside her, a quiet reminder of the journey they had shared. "You're making a difference," he said softly. "Not just for yourself, but for everyone who learns from you." Luma nodded. "I never imagined I could do this, but now I see that helping others is as important as improving myself." Weeks passed, and the academy continued its rigorous training. Luma remained among the top cadets, her confidence unwavering. Her peers respected her not only for her skill, but also for her courage and kindness. She had become a symbol of perseverance, a cadet who had faced mockery, fear, and doubt, and transformed them into strength. One evening, the academy held a ceremony to mark the completion of the current training cycle. Cadets, instructors, and visiting officials gathered to honor outstanding achievements. Luma was called forward once more, not just for her skill, but for her leadership and example. As she stepped onto the stage, applause filled the hall. Luma looked at Jonas, who nodded proudly. She realized that her journey was far from over. There would be more challenges ahead, more difficult missions, and more tests of courage. But now she knew she had the strength, skill, and determination to face them all. When the ceremony ended, cadets approached Luma, congratulating her, asking questions, and seeking advice. She smiled at each of them, offering guidance and encouragement. The sense of isolation she had felt when she first arrived at the academy had vanished. She had found friendship, respect, and purpose. Later, alone with Jonas on the observation deck, Luma gazed at the stars. "I never thought I could feel this kind of confidence," she said softly. "I'm not just surviving here. I'm thriving." Jonas smiled. "And you'll continue to thrive. This is just the beginning. The skills and courage you've gained will take you far, and the respect you've earned will carry you even further." Luma felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had faced fear, ridicule, and doubt, and emerged stronger than she had ever imagined. Her journey had been difficult, but it had shaped her into a cadet worthy of respect and admiration. As the stars twinkled above, Luma realized something important. Strength was not just about skill or power. It was about courage, determination, and the willingness to trust oneself. And with those qualities, she could face any challenge the academy or the universe might present. For the first time, Luma felt completely at peace. She had found her place, earned the respect of her peers, and discovered the power within herself. The academy was no longer a place of fear and mockery. It was a place of growth, friendship, and opportunity. And Luma, once the timid outsider, was now a shining example of what determination, courage, and the guidance of a true friend could achieve.